Hi, today we're going to have a look at repairing a Magrath shaft for the Magrath Prod. So what we've got here is a classic snapped shaft. So what we're going to have a look at, firstly, making sure you've got all the parts. You need the locking nut, the locking washer, which is on the bottom of the shaft, and then on the bit that's broken off at the bottom, you'll need to remove the bottom lug, and you can use either a screwdriver for that, or you can grab a hold of it with a set of multi-grips and just pull it off. But once you've got that off, you're actually looking to make sure you've got the bottom lug, the steel connector, and then the rivet which is on the base of the shaft. Okay, now with that so we've got our shaft. What we're going to do is we're just going to trim it off so it's nice and neat. Now in order to trim it off, there's two ways you can do it. You can use a Stanley knife against the board and just score the shaft, or I prefer to use a small pipe cutter. They're worth about $6 from Bunnings, and you can just lock it on the shaft, and all you do is wind it up as you're going, and it just scores through the shaft. So once you've scored, put a nice ridge on the shaft. You don't want to go all the way through, okay? You just want to score a decent part. Grab it with a set of multi-grips and then just twist, and you should be able to snap it off nice and clean. And there we have it. So once you've cleaned off the bottom of your shaft, you've got a nice straight edge. We're just going to put a couple of the items back on. So your locking nut goes on first, followed by your lock washer. Slide that on. And make sure you put those parts on before you put the bottom lug on. Okay? Now, installing the bottom lug. Essentially, you get the straight wire, poke it into the bottom of that hole there, and just let it slide right down, and it'll make contact with the bottom rivet. Then you clip on your little clip onto the top of that element there. Now we've just got to reinsert these back up into the shaft and just get that started. Now once you've started the lug and it's started to firm up in there, what I always like to do is just test the shaft, because you can test it from this position. So what you need is obviously a steel object. You need your Magrath handpiece, so I'm just going to use our demonstration model for this one. So just sit it in the end, fire it up and short the shaft out. Okay, so there we've got a working shaft. So all we've got to do now is you've just got to ram this home all the way so it sits nice and flush up level with the shaft. So once again, in order to do that, you just need to bang it nice and solid against a solid object. So it's generally a concrete floor or a brick or something along those lines. So I'll just go do that. Righto, so once you've rammed your lug right up to the end, basically reinsert the locking washer and the locking nut. You should be able to now install that onto the end of your Magrath Prod. Up nice and firm, and then you should be ready to go. Just test it once again on a steel object, and there we have a snapped shaft all ready to go.